Hello friends, let us move on to the first lecture of module 2, that is the concepts of probability. In this module, we will be discussing various aspects of probability. So let us go to the slides. In this lecture today, we will give you just an overview of probability. In-depth analysis will begin from the next slide, the next lecture. So it is just the initial concepts. Probability is nothing but the mathematical term of chance. It got developed from the games of gambling. In olden days, people used to gamble a lot, rich as well as poor. And from gambling, two mathematicians, Pascal and Demer, developed the theory of probability. It is denoted by P of A, where A is the event of whose probability is required to be calculated. First, you have to define the event whose probability you will calculate. Without defining the event, you cannot calculate anything's probability. If I just ask you what is the probability question mark, nothing else. You would say what is the probability of what? That what is the event called A. Its value ranges between 0 and 1. 1 means certainty and 0 means impossibility. 1 and 0 are the two extreme points of probability value. Now, few terminologies. First is experiment. Any incident that has more than one outcome. If you don't have more than one outcome, it is really not required to calculate probability, because you know that outcome will happen, either happen or not happen. But if an event or an incident has got more than one possible outcomes, then only you calculate the probability of one thing happening over the other thing. So that is an experiment. Outcome. It is possible results of an experiment. All possible results that can come out of an experiment are outcomes. Event, as I have already defined, one or group of outcomes whose probability is to be calculated. It can be one outcome consisting of an event, or the event can consist of a group of outcomes. Like for example, if the event is getting a head by tossing of a coin, then there are two outcomes, head and tail, and only one outcome, head, is your event. But in a throw of a dice, if you say the event is an even number, getting an even number, then 2, 4, and 6 are three outcomes that makes up an event, the even number. So event can be one or group of outcomes whose probability is to be calculated. Probability can be subjective, empirical, classical. Subjective probability is entirely your gut feeling, your instinct. Instinctively, what you say. What is the chance of rain today? Someone says 60%, someone says 50%, someone says 90%. It varies. It depends on person to person. No one can prove the other person wrong. That is subjective probability. Empirical probability is calculating probability from past records. And classical probability is a traditional probability that was developed from the theory of gambling. An example of empirical probability, team A and B have played 50 matches between themselves. A has won 30 times. In an upcoming match, what is the probability of B winning? So, probability of A winning is 30 by 50 or 3 by 5. The probability of B winning is 1 minus probability of A. Why 1 minus? Because 1 is the total probability of all events together. So total probability 1 minus probability of A winning gives you probability of B winning 2 by 5. Classical probability is number of favorable outcomes divided by total number of mutually exclusive, exhaustive and equally likely set of outcomes. First, we have to understand what is favorable outcome. Favorable outcomes are those that if happens, the event is said to have happened. Out of the entire bunch of outcomes, those are favorable, which if happens, the event is said to have happened. Next is mutually exclusive. Means if one outcome happens, the other outcome will not happen. They are mutually exclusive. And exhaustive means you have got the list of total possible outcomes that you have. There is no other outcome possible beyond the list of outcomes that you have with you. That is exhaustive list of outcomes. So this is the definition of classical probability. In a throw of a dice, what is the probability of getting an even number? Possible outcomes are 6. Event A is even numbers. Outcomes favoring the event is 2, 4 and 6. So probability of A is 3 by 6 or half. In tossing two unbiased coins, what is the probability of getting at least one head? Getting at least one head. Possible outcomes, head, 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 tail, tail, head, tail, tail. At least one head is the event. Number of outcomes favoring the event, head, 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 tail, and tail, head. There are 3 events, 3 outcomes favoring the event. So probability of A is 3 by 4. What is the probability of getting a king from a standard pack of 52 cards? Total number of outcomes 52. Number of kings 4, 1 from each color. Event A getting a king. Probability of A is 4 by 52. That is 1 by 13. So these are some of the examples of probability. So we have basically understood the concepts of different types of probability measures, subjective, empirical, classical, and we have extensively defined the classical probability measure with few examples today. Thank you very much.